Cody Johnson coming in hot from the tour bus, man.
Yeah, we're sitting in Florida. I pulled up today. We're playing a hockey arena. I didn't realize I had my Anaheim Ducks shirt on, so I got funny looks.
A little bit off brand for that coast, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, how's the new year starting off for you? I know we're like a month and a half into it already, almost 2 months into the new year, or over 2 months by the time this airs. But crazy start to 2024, just coming in hot right out the gate, pretty much.
Yeah, man, we had an excellent start with the release of Leather, and how well the Painter's doing on radio and streaming. Already setting ourselves up for maybe a number one and Dirt Cheap coming out next. And man, the touring has been incredible. Like it's just been, we always say, like, when you release new music and you play it live, and you and I have talked a long time about how my live show is pretty much, that's the core, that's the bread and butter, that's the wagon wheel. When you play new music live, it's like kissing a girl for the first time. You're like, am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? Like, it's awkward. And so far, man, every crowd all across America knows every word to every song. They're eating it up. And man, it's just, that fires me up. That makes me want to go get out there and play more new stuff. So it's been really great.
You put out new music on streaming services or send it to radio. That's one thing, but when you get the reaction in real time, playing it the first couple times has got to be a little bit nerve-wracking.
It is a little nerve-wracking. And I can always tell, like, that first time we play it, I'm like, it didn't sound good. Like, we messed it up. I did this or I did that. And I'll listen to the board tape and I'm like, oh, it was really good. It was just all in my head, and getting to look people in the eye and really seeing them, like, like, for instance, when you start playing the Painter and you see every couple in the house start to grab each other and hold each other tighter, you're like, okay, this is a real love song. This is working.
This is one of those songs it's so simple. Like, it's like, how has no one had this take on a love song until 2024? It's such a perfect explanation of what true love really is, especially from a lot of times, look, the men in your traditional relationship are, they're going out there earning the bread and butter. They're bringing in, providing food on the table. And then the woman adds the spice to it, adds the sizzle, creates everything around it to make it feel like a home. And that's kind of what this song is in 2.5, 3 minutes of a country love song.
I think so too, man. It's one of those songs that the first time I heard it, like the very first lines, like she talks about the future, like she's flipping through a magazine. It's like, to me, that tells me this woman, she just feels okay. Like, she's like, it's not a worry, things are going to be fine. That optimism, believing in her man. And then, like, the one where there's a line that says, for every wall I built, she saw a canvas. And I'm like, I'm guilty of that. I've been with Brandy for 15 years. And, I've tried to put up those walls and those barriers. And she has a way of making me feel okay about it and turn it into something beautiful and positive. And it's like, when I heard that, I thought, man, this is so personally relatable to me. I'm with you. Like, how come I didn't write this? Like, how come I didn't think of this? And my life was black and white, but she's the painter. And I thought, on the production, keep it as simple as the lyrics. Don't do a whole lot to it. Just make it a simple song that I could just sit down and play with you on my guitar. Because let's face it, like, that's why most guys pick up a guitar in the first place.
Right. It's or it's either that or they've had a few too many beers and they want to smash it. So
yes.
This one is a little bit more on the romantic side for sure. Being in a long-term relationship, it takes a while to get that level of vulnerability to where you can just open up. It's non-judgmental. You can share your innermost secrets. How long did it take for you? With every relationship, there's always a period of time to where it's building up that level of trust and vulnerability to be able to tear those walls down. How long for you and your wife before you got to that point to where at the end of a long day, you can just open up and spew it out and feel like, I can talk to her, I can share what's on my mind and not feel like I'm getting judged for it?
Honestly, not very long. Like, if you've seen the Painter video, that's the exact story of how me and Brandy met. And it's one of those things that, it's weird. Like, when I met her, I felt like, God, I can talk to this woman about anything. I'm completely comfortable. She's my best friend. And now, after 15 years, there's times where I know, hey, I'm not going to talk to her right now because I'm not going to put more on her plate. I have her support. I know that I can handle this situation on my own. And, I don't want to burden her down with. So it's like, it's funny how that transcends and it evolves a little bit the more and more you get to know each other over the years.
It is. And I feel like it takes even longer as husbands on the flip side for that to know that She doesn't want me to fix her problems because as men, that's kind of what we try to do. Like, I have trouble with this, this, and this, and this. And we try to provide a solution. Sometimes they just want to hear, they want someone to hear them and listen. And that, I mean, I'm going on 10 years with my wife and I'm still trying to figure that out.
There's days where I'm like, God, why did I even talk? I should have just listened and just been like, yep. And that's a big struggle, but that's part of the painting. Everybody that's ever painted a picture, any artist has had those ones where they mess up a little bit and then they turn it into something beautiful. And it's such a great metaphor for life and relationships. It was an honest no brainer to go to radio for our first single from Leather for sure.
So yeah, the painter, to follow that up, are you coming with some heat after this one peaks? Are you thinking a barn burner or something similar lane, something slowing it down even further? Like what's next for CoJo as far as on country radio?
Man, so here's the thing: like when people chase country radio, they really don't have there's not an algorithm or anything that can tell you the truth of what's going to work. You have people like, man, you got to come with a tempo song now because radio needs tempo and you already had this, or you need to come with this song because radio and streaming and this and this, and they've got all these reasons and they've got all this data and all this stuff to back what they're saying. But look, if you want to see live, if you want to see up tempo, you want to see barn burner, you want to see electricity, come to one of my live shows. As far as radio goes, I go with what touches people. What song comes on that radio and you go, I cannot turn this off. And it's just ironic that while we're still pushing for we're in the top 5 with the painter, pushing for a number 1. Dirt Cheap has already charted and we haven't pushed it yet. It's one of the highest streaming songs. It is the highest streaming song of Leather Volume 1. And so it's a no-brainer. I'm like, if that's what people are going to play, I'm going to play Dirt Cheap. I'm coming with Dirt Cheap next. I think it's on March 11th or March 18th or something like that. We're going to be pushing it out to radio. And who knows? What if the next one is tempo? What if it's not? I'm not afraid to put out songs like I know that because of what I do live and my reputation that I've had for over 17 years on the road, nobody's going to label me the ballad guy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
There's ballads we have that we don't play because the show is so energetic. I mean, so I love the best of both worlds. I look back on Garth Brooks' career. There was a lot of ballads. Garth Brooks' show was nothing short of amazing, and it was upbeat.
There was a couple times to relax, slow dance in your seats a little bit, but other than that, he's swinging off ropes and doing whatever Garth did all those years and still does. When he plays, maybe not the rope swings these days. He's past those days, but yeah, no, you're exactly right, and I think you kind of cracked the matrix here because music is a feeling, right? I mean, it's right on the Country Music Hall of Fame. Country music isn't the instrument. It's not the tempo, nothing. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but it's a feeling. Thank you, Waylon Jennings, for that. But and you got to have something that people feel, and it causes an emotional reaction. If you're chasing data, you're chasing analytics, you might have some number ones, but you're not going to have hits that resonate with people for the rest of their lives.
Right. No, I agree. And that's the point is like, when I record these songs, it's stuff that touches me. Like for People in the Back, if anybody knows the Leather album, there's a song called People in the Back. Right now I'm playing basketball arenas and hockey arenas and selling out, 20,000 a night. There are people in the back there, and I wanted to talk to them. And so that song is up in your face and it's rocking. But that works for my live show. But whereas Dirt Cheap, I live that song, man. I have that ranch in Texas that I wouldn't trade anything. I wouldn't trade millions and millions of dollars for because I have history there with my wife and my kids and my horses and dogs and cows and family events and things that, man, I've got the oak tree picked out that I'd like to be buried under, so I really related to that song. And what's really stuck out to me is a lot of people, you could have 2 acres. You could be living in the city, but you have that old family farm outside the city that you're never going to get rid of because that's where dad and mom are. And so like, there's so many ways to relate about it. And even if you are one of those people that you don't relate, you relate to the principle of it. If you can't buy this dirt cheap. I know people that are in the city that live on concrete that are like, wow, like I just grasped that concept. I've never had that concept, but I just grabbed it. And like you said, it's that feeling. It's that material that you can't touch. It's not tangible, but it touches your soul. And that's what I'm about, man, whether it's upbeat, ballad, or in between.
I remember when you chose Human as single before the Painter. And I remember you saying it was at the Luke Combs show, and you said A&R, all the data says to go somewhere else, but this is the one that people feel. And it ended up being a hit. Obviously, it wasn't a number 1 single, but when you have the mindset of like, I want to release a song that people are going to remember,
Yeah.
And people aren't going to remember whether or not that was a number one. They're going to have that emotion. You get a number one song, it's like icing on the cake, right? It's not the end all be all for you.
Yeah, I want to make it clear. I'm not ever chasing number ones. I want to put out country music that I believe in, that I can put my stamp on. And if we get a number one, that's great. Like, look, you got to remember, for a guy that didn't have any radio support, or, like your streaming entity support, like, like your iHearts and your Apples and all this stuff, for a long time. I mean, over a decade. When I hear my stuff on the radio, or I see like you said, the analytics, that you look at the numbers and you're going, wow, look at all the places that are playing this music. That means more. I've already won.
Mhm.
And it's not about plaques and trophies and number ones and all that stuff. But if we get a number one, great. That helps me sell more tickets, which means I get to play the songs that I believe in to more people live with my guitar.
Did I look at you got like a little bruise or something on your fingernail? Because I know you work your ranch.
Yeah,
You get a little something. What happened there? You like a hammer hit you the wrong way, or
I was actually trying to close a gate, and I was going to stop it before it hit the latch too hard, and that's what happens right there. So
dude, you can tell I do not work in that kind of environment. There's no calluses here. I got to get out and like get some work done here. So there's nothing here, man. The only callus I have is right on my thumb from the motorcycle grip. That's it.
yeah,
That's it. I gotta get out and get to work with you one of these days.
man, I'm telling you, it's good work when you get to go home, and and I have my days of rest. There's a lot of times where I don't leave the house. Just go home and rest and recharge, because my job is the most important. But to get out, go work, do good work, and at the end of the day, you're tired and you're hot, and it does something for your soul. So I mean, that's the lifestyle I live, man.
Well, next time I'm down in Texas, if you're there, I'll drop you a DM. I'll come out and work the ranch with you, and
Yeah,
we could share some stories around the fire that night. How about that?
yeah, we'll ice down some cold beer.
There you go, brother. All right, man. Have a great time. Thanks for making the time. Say hey to Jackson for me,
I sure will.
and we'll see you in Nashville here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thank you.